Can you tell me what is the answer of this question on the screen? Believe it or not, millions of people have problems with that. But today, I'm going to make it easy for you. After that, you don't have any problem with any other questions like this. My name is Mahmoud Kiasari, and this is a special game. So, welcome to this chapter, and as I just promised, we are going to talk about a new concept, which is about the PEMDAS. So maybe one of you would say that, okay, what's wrong with this wording and what is that exactly? I will talk about it, but just I'm going to tell you that the PEMDAS is the way that you can memorize the order of operation. As we know, there are different kind of operation. We do have the basic one, we do have exponents, we do have parentheses, but the real question is that which one comes first and how we can do them side by side without having any problem at this point. So why we're using this order of operation? Because if we don't use that, and if we do have different kind of operations side by side, obviously we are not sure that which one should come first. So at this point, we do have a mathematic, we do have some tools, but again, we don't know how to use them. For instance, look at this question. For the first point, I'm going to a restaurant, right? Because I'm trying to apply this fact in your real life, and after that, you can sense it why we use that. So you would go to a restaurant, and after that, the money that you have to pay is obviously consists of two parts. The first part is your meal, another one is about the tip. So obviously, we do have one specific equation for that, right? And that one is 40 plus 40 multiplied by 20%. So the way that we are thinking about it is that it's easy, right? I have to pay $40, and after that I have to pay 20%. If I assume that 20% is going to be amount of tip, 20% of that meal is going to be added up to that $40. So right now it is easy, right? But when you're trying to apply this fact in mathematics, how you would write it down? So you would write it as just the way it is, $40 plus 40 multiplied by 20%. So it is easy. You would say that, okay, it's not that kind of a hard thing, but imagine that you don't know the back story behind this one. And instead of just add 40 plus 20% of 40, which could give you a number, you would do what? You just add 40 and 40, and after that multiply by 20%. What is going on right now? You are not following the order of operation. You just following the operation as the way they are written from left to right. And that's why instead of 48, you do have 16. On another hand, imagine that you do have some kind of mathematical equation, and I'm trying to find an answer for it. 300 subtracted by 50 multiplied by 2. So you have two ways to answer that one. Either you can find the 300 subtracted by 50 multiplied by 2, or you can find the multiplication of 50 and 2, and after that subtract the whole thing from the 300. PEMDAS, or the order of operation, is going to help you that which one of these ways are right. So as you can see over here, for this specific question, first of all, I have to multiply 2 by 50 and subtract it by 300, and so on and so forth. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about another example. So as you can see over here, I do have another one at 8 subtracted by 3 times 2. If we do it in a wrong way, I do have 8 subtracted by 3 times 2. It means that I'm going to do the 8 subtracted by 3 at the beginning. It would be 5, and after that I'm going to do the multiplication, which is going to be 10, which is wrong. I have to first do the 3 by 2, and after that subtract it from 8. So this is the way that we are going to follow the order of operation. For some of you, maybe could be a little bit confused that, okay, so how am I going to do that exactly? Because at some point you would say that multiplication comes first, and after that we do have addition. At some point we do have parentheses. So what is wrong over here? In order to follow the very, very basic step about the order of operation, they come up with acronym, they come up with some abbreviation that we call it as the PEMDAS. So what does PEMDAS mean? PEMDAS actually contains different kind of operation. The P is parentheses, E is exponents, M is multiplication, D is division, A is addition, and S is subtraction. So what does that mean? It means that whenever you see different kind of operations side by side each other, you have to follow this way. You have to follow this order. But here's a couple of controversial things that could happen in your mind. Let's say that, okay, imagine that I do have multiplication and division and addition and some kind of subtraction at the same time. Multiplication and division side by side, and after that we do have addition and subtraction. The one important thing about the PEMDAS or order of operation is that two parts, two tricky things actually is happening over here. The first one is that the order of multiplication and division actually are the same. The order of addition and subtraction is also the same. So you would say that, okay, how am I going to understand which one comes first? By following another side or another fact about the order of operation, which means that you have to move from left to right. Whenever you see the multiplication, whenever you see the division side by side each other, you have to start from the left and after that move to the right. So this is the way, or this is the rule that we have about the PEMDAS itself. But just before talking more about that, let's talk about each of those words or each of those letters side by side each other, and after that we can see what would happen if we combine all of them. As I just mentioned, P means parentheses. It means that first of all I have to find the parentheses, and after that I have to move forward. Imagine that I do have this question. This is the very simple question. I do have 3 plus parentheses 2 multiplied by 1 plus 3. So at the very beginning point, when you're looking at this question, if you don't know about the order of operation, you're getting confused. But right now we know about this, and we are going to work with parentheses. But here's another question. I do have two parentheses. One is this one, and another one is this one. So how I should start? Remember, whenever you're trying to use the parentheses, all the time you have to start with the innermost one. It means that you have to just dive down, deep down inside the whole equation itself and find the very beginning parentheses that you have. So if you look at this question, we see that 1 plus 3 is the innermost parentheses, so I do have it as 4. After that, I do have the multiplication. So again, I'm inside the parentheses itself. So after parentheses, remember, I do have exponents. Do you see any exponents? No. And after that, I see multiplication. So multiplication is the next one. So I'm using 4 times 2 and 8. And if you don't want to remember the order, that is okay right now, because the only thing that you see inside the parentheses is just 2 by 4, right? So I do have it as 8. After that, 3 plus 8 is 11. So what did I do? I follow the order of operation or PEMDAS. At first, I solve the parentheses. Since I do have 2, I solve the innermost one, and after that move to the other parts, and after that I follow the multiplication and addition, and I don't have any problem with that. So imagine that we do have this question. We just made it a little bit of combination of different parentheses. As you can see over here, I do have 3 different parentheses. I do have this one as the very first. I do have the second one. And after that, I do have the third one. Remember, we have to start from the innermost parentheses. So I have to start from which one? Exactly, 7 subtracted by 5. 7 subtracted by 5 is 2. After that, do I have any parentheses? Not yet. I do have a multiplication. So I have to multiply by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. What do I have afterward? Everything was inside the second parentheses. Second parentheses was just simplified. So I do have my 4, and 4 should be what? 4 should be plus 7, 4 should be plus 3 itself, and after that I do have 7. After the 7 itself, I have to multiply everything by 5, which I do have at 35. So remember, it doesn't matter how many parentheses you have. At the very beginning of the point, you have to just start from the innermost one, and after that spread it out to find the outer layer parentheses. So that was about parentheses, and let's move to the next one, or exponents. So it means that after parentheses, if you see exponents, it doesn't matter if you have multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction on the other side. First of all, you have to do the exponents. Look at this question. I do have 2 multiplied by 3 to the power of 2. I can multiply 2 by 3, and after that do it to the power of 2, or I can find the power of 2 of 3, and after that multiply by 2. For some of you that if you have problem with the power and exponents, I just made two videos, two separate videos about the exponents and power. We solved so many questions and we talked about all different kind of rules and laws that you have to follow. So just look at them, and I believe you don't have any problem with that. So I do have 2 multiplied by 3 to the power 2 based on the PEMDAS that I know. Again, every time I'm trying to write it down for you. Do not forget. Parentheses. We don't have any parentheses over here. It's not a problem. Exponents. So I do have exponents. First of all, I have to take care of that. So first of all, I have to take care of 3 to the power 2. What is that answer? 3 to the power 2 is just 9. What do I have afterward? I do have multiplication. So multiplication means that 2 multiplied by 9 is equals to 18. Remember, first of all, exponents, and after that, multiplication or division. So I do have the answer right this, and very common mistake that I've seen so many times that students would do that is that first, before doing the 3 to the power 2, they would just look at this one, 2 times 3 as a whole thing, and after that find the power of 2 of that, which is going to be 36, which is completely wrong. Please be careful about that. So let's see another kind of example. So I do have 5 plus 2 to the power 3. So obviously we know, first of all, I have to do the exponents, right? 2 to the power 3, 8. 8 plus 5 is equal to 13. Easy. 4 times 2 to the power 2 plus 1. So what should I do right now? First of all, I have to find the exponents. I don't care if I do have multiplication or subtraction, addition, or any other kind of things on another side. First of all, if I don't have any parentheses, I'm going to do the exponents. 2 to the power 2 is 4. 4, right now, I do have the PEMDAS. Remember, parentheses, exponents, and after that, multiplication or division. So I do have multiplication and I do have addition. Which one comes first? Obviously multiplication. So 4 multiplied by 4 is 16 plus 1 is 17. I do have 10 subtracted by 3 to the power 2. Easy, just like that. 3 to the power 2 is going to be 9. I'm looking for the multiplication or division. Since I don't have any in this question, I'm going to follow the subtraction. 10 subtracted by 9 is equals to 1. Please be careful about the PEMDAS itself. Follow everything in it. So after that, we do have multiplication and division. As I just mentioned about that, multiplication and division, actually, they do have the same order. But here's the situation, that what would happen if I do have both of them at the same time? At this kind of condition, you would all the time start from left to right. What does that mean? Look at this question. I do have 20 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. I have 2 ways to solve this question. Either I can, first of all, divide 20 by 5, which is going to be 4, and after that multiply by 2, which is going to be 8, or I can find the multiplication by 5 by 2, which is 10, 20 divided by that, and it's going to be 2. Here's the question, which one of them is right? Based on the PEMDAS, we know that multiplication and division are here. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents, there's no addition or subtraction. So I know that I do have multiplication and division. So at this point, which one comes first? Whatever comes first from the left side. So I do have the division, right? 20 divided by 5, which is equal to 4, multiplied by 2, which is equal to 8. Maybe some of you would have this question that, is this a fact right now? Because you can see that you're saying that it's going to be left from right? So I do have division, and after that I do have multiplication. For instance, why the name is not PEMDAS, it's PEMDAS? So again, remember, it doesn't matter what the name is. The only thing that you have to remember is that multiplication and division comes in the same order. And if they come up together, you have to follow left to right. It doesn't necessarily mean that M comes before D, means that first of all you have the multiplication and after that division. No, either you can call it as PEMDAS or PEMDAS. It doesn't matter. Division and multiplication come together. If we do have both of them at the same time, you would start from left to right. Imagine at this question, instead of division, I had something like this. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I do have the division or I do have a multiplication. I have to look to the left side and I will have to see what is going on. On the left side, I do have multiplication. 20 multiplied by 5, and after that divided by 2. Okay, remember, this is a very common mistake. You can remember that one. You can do as many times practice that you want, as much as some kind of practice that you want, and after that, you know you can be master in it. So after the multiplication and division, we do have addition and subtraction. So what would happen at this point? Again, at this point, we do have the same scenario. Addition and subtraction, both of them, they do have the same, some kind of the order. It means that if you do have addition, if you do have the subtract, or if you have the addition, which is a plus, and a subtract, which is going to be negative sign, you all have to consider both of them and the same order. But here's the thing, just like the multiplication and division, which one of them comes first? The one that comes first from the left side. So look at this question. I do have 20 subtracted by 40 plus 2. Is that right? So at this point, I have to choose which one of them comes first. I know based on the PEMDAS, addition and subtraction, they are at the same level. They are the same order, right? But which one of them comes first? The one comes first from the left side, and after that, I would look for the positive side. So it would be 12 subtracted by 4, which is 8, plus 2, which is going to be your answer, which is 10. If you don't know how to use the PEMDAS, you're going to get confused. What does that mean? It means that first of all, you're going to use the adding, and it would be 12 subtracted by 6, which is going to be 6, which is completely wrong answer. So this is, again, that was the thing that we were talking about. This is the myth about the PEMDAS, which does, so since multiplication comes before division or addition comes before subtraction, it means that we have to do the addition first, and after that subtraction, we have to do the multiplication first, and after the division. No, that is completely wrong. The only reason that these guys are comes like this is that we can memorize it better. For instance, you had, for example, I don't know, if you had for example, you can write it down like this. So it is so hard to remember. The only reason that they come up with this one is that you can memorize it better and faster. So we do have this one, and it doesn't matter if M comes before D. It doesn't necessarily mean that multiplication just have to be done before the division or addition before the subtraction. No, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes first from the left side. Look at this question again. 20 subtracted by 5 multiplied by 2. We know that division and multiplication, they do have the same order, so we have to do the division first, and after that multiplication. For the next one, 15 subtracted by 5 plus 2. We have to do the subtraction first, and after that do the addition. So let's see some basic examples, like some kind of we'll move forward to the intermediate, to more challenging example to make sure that you completely understand it. Whenever you see this kind of question, try to write down this PEMDAS for yourself. Why? Because right now we are at the beginning stage. We are just trying to learn what is happening in this kind of equation. So it would be better to write it down in the way, in the order, and after that you won't forget about that. So I do have proportion. I do have parentheses, and after that I do have exponents, I do have multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So as you can see over here, I only have two operations. I do have addition and I do have multiplication. Based on the PEMDAS, we know that multiplication comes first, right? So I have to 6 times 2, which is 12, plus 3 is equals to 15. Simple, done. Let's go for the next example. At this example, I do have parentheses, I do have addition, I do have multiplication, I do have exponents. It's a full package, right? Again, write down the PEMDAS. Parentheses first, right? So I do have parentheses. I have to focus on the parentheses. What is happening inside the parentheses? The only thing that I do have is 4 plus 3, right? So 4 plus 3 is equals to 7. After that, what should I do? I do have exponents, so I have to look for exponents. 2 to the power 2 is 4. After that, I do have multiplication. 7 times 4 is 28. Remember, at some point it would happen that inside your parentheses, the question that you have is going to be a little bit more challenging. For instance, I do have the parentheses, and after that it is 4 to the power 2 multiplied by 3 to the power 2 plus, I don't know, 12, whatever. It doesn't matter. So at this point, when you go for parentheses, you have to forget about the whole thing, about the whole question. Focus on inside the parentheses, solve that one. After that, when you make sure that there's nothing there, and there's no kind of equation or question that you have to solve there, you can just close the case about the parentheses, and after that move forward. Let's go for another question. So I do have division, I do have multiplication, and after that I do have parentheses. Again, look for PEMDAS. So what should I do? Parentheses first. Parentheses over here. Whatever is happening inside the parentheses, I have to find it. 3 multiplied by 2, 6. What do I have then? I do have exponents. There's no exponent. I do have multiplication. So I do have multiplication, but it was inside the parentheses. Yet it's not my concern because right now I'm only looking at 18 and 6. Okay. So what do I have? I do have division. 18 by 6 is equals to 3. That is your final answer. Let's look at another question. At this point, we do have the whole package. We do have exponents. We do have parentheses. Division, addition, subtraction. So we could just add another multiplication and it would be the whole package and the party would be full. But right now, just look at it. Again, look at the PEMDAS. So what do I have? Parentheses. Look for the parentheses. Again, this is one of those scenarios that I told you. Inside the parentheses, again, I have to apply another PEMDAS. So inside the parentheses, what do you see? I do have a subtraction. I do have exponents. Based on the PEMDAS, we know that E comes first. So I do have 2 to the power 3, which is equals to 8. After that, we will do the subtraction. 10 subtracted by 8 is equals to 2. Okay, let's move forward. Parentheses is done. Whatever was inside it, it's done. So we do have division, and after that, we do have addition. Based on the PEMDAS, we know division comes before addition or subtraction. So I do have 2 divided by 2, which is called 1, plus 5 is equals to 6. And this is your answer. So let's just look at the common mistakes that maybe you will face it in the future. Probably you will. And some kind of what is the right way to get rid of it. Imagine that we do have a question. 2 multiplied by 3 plus 4. Based on the PEMDAS, we know, first of all, parentheses. After that, whatever inside the parentheses should be done, which is going to be 7. And after that, multiply by 2, which is 14. At some point, if you are not following the PEMDAS order of operation, you could face a problem like this. 2 multiplied by 3 without considering the parentheses. You would say that, okay, we just move from left to right. Left to right is right. I mean, left to right is okay. But at the point that you have, for example, multiplication and division, you have addition and subtraction, but not there is a big parenthesis in your way. So first of all, you have to get rid of parentheses. But if you don't do that, it would be 2 multiplied by 3, which is going to be 6, plus 4 is 10, which is a completely wrong answer. Let's look at another one. I do have 12 divided by 4 times 2. So if I just don't follow the PEMDAS itself in a right way, and if I would say that, okay, it's PEMDAS, so multiplication comes before the division. I do have a multiplication, and after that, the division. Wrong. So again, as I just told you, multiplication and division, they are in the same order. The only thing that would divide them is that you have to start from left to right. So division comes first, and after that, you have multiplication. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. 12 divided by 8 is equals to be whatever number, which is 1.5, which is going to be some kind of the 1.5, which is a completely wrong answer. Why? Because first of all, you follow the multiplication, and after that you go for the division. So this is not right. We are going to move from left to right. It would be 12 divided by 4, which is 3, multiplied by 2, 6, which is the right answer. Let's look at another one. 2 plus 3 to the power 2. Obviously, exponent comes first, based on the PEMDAS. 3 to the power 2, which is 9. I'm going to add it with 2. If I'm going to get confused and say that, okay, 2 apparently is going to be considered for 3 and 2. And if you consider the parentheses for 2 plus 3 is going to be 5, and after that to the power 2, which is 25, completely wrong. Let's look at another one. So I do have 10 subtracted by 3 plus 2. So at this point, I have to start from left to right because addition and subtraction, they do have the same orders. So 10 subtracted by 3 plus 2, and if you do it any other way, you're going to get the wrong answer. So let's just see the PEMDAS in the real life. Again, as I just told you, and as we just start this part with the fact that we are going to use it in the real world scenario, you can see that. For instance, we are going to talk about the calculation. Obviously, we just saw that how we can use the PEMDAS and how is the right way to do that. Another one would be about the spreadsheets. When you're working with Excel, you can see that this guy is also following the equations, and in the equation, it also follows the PEMDAS itself. When the programming itself, if some of you working with Python, Java, or any other kind of programming language, you would see that also they're following the same thing. They're following the PEMDAS itself. And in everyday math itself, like the one that we started a concept with about when you go to a restaurant and you have to pay the bill, if you're not going to be careful about how you do those calculations, you're going to find the wrong number. And obviously, either you are going to make your pocket sad or the waiter itself. So let's just see a challenging question. Again, at this point, we do have different kind of operations side by side. pause the video, think about it, and after that we can come up with the answer itself. So as you obviously all of you found out about this one is that this guy has the full package in itself. It's PEMDAS. So first of all, I have to find the parentheses, right? So the parentheses is going to be this part. Another part is that inside the parentheses, and still I do have another PEMDAS. So inside that point, I do have exponents, and after that, I do have addition. 5 to the power 2 is 25, plus 5 is going to be what? Is going to be 30 for you inside the parentheses. Done. I do have division, I do have multiplication. Which one comes first? That's right, the ones from the left, because multiplication and division, they do have the same order. 100 divided by 10, which is going to be 10, multiplied by 30, the by 30 is going to be 300. And this is the right way that you can do it step by step. So we do have some kind of practice problem, and I'm not going to do that for you because I believe that you can do it by yourself, and please just comment them down below because I want to make sure that you did all right. But again, if you have any problem with that, you can just ask me on the comment below, or you can just ask me for more examples, because all the time I do have so many examples in my hand that I can make so many videos about it. Don't worry. So please just ask. Again, this was a special K. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. That's going to help me a lot. Have a super great day, night, whatever. See you around.